That's my guy.
Yes.
All right. What's up, Cougs?
Welcome back to Coug on the Clock. I'm back. I'm Gunnar Miller.
And I'm Brinkley Hill.
Today we have a lot to talk about as we have WSU women's and men's basketball, the MLB Lockout result, and some free agency news in the NFL. Let's get into the show. So our first topic today is WSU women's basketball. Women's is coming off a very ugly loss in the Pac-12 tournament to Utah, 70-59. But Utah actually ended up going to the championship game, so not really sure if we need to be that upset about the loss. It still was an upset loss, but we're on to the tournament. WSU is projected to be 11th seed in the tournament, playing against number 6 seeded Ole Miss, but that's not official till the Sunday picks for March Madness for women's. My opinion on them is they need to play very well, the guards especially, and Charlize, Crystal, and Johanna.
Yep.
My prediction for them, though, ultimately is I think they'll exceed what they did last year. They'll get out of the first round, but I do think they're just a second-round team. I don't think it goes any further than that. They would have to play Iowa in the projections, and Iowa's an insane team this year, so I just don't see that happening. But, I mean, as everyone needs to play well. What's your thoughts on the women's basketball team?
Yeah. I mean, we saw in that Utah game that Charlize Ledger-Walker just got shut down. She's the highest scoring player on the team, and she was held to just 6 points. And so if they really want to have a break in March Madness, she's going to have to get engaged and start scoring again.
Of course. And like you said, Charlize, Crystal, and Johanna each had less than 6 points. They could not get anything rolling for the Cougs in the Pac-12 tournament. And if you can't even get rolling in the Pac-12 tournament and to be granted, Utah did break a Pac-12 record in scoring 29 points in the first quarter, which put us automatically behind. But we need to make sure that does not happen, because another game like that was the Oregon game where we got killed by like 53 points.
Absolutely crushed. I mean, Bella Marikatate and Tara Wallach were the only 2 players during that Utah game to score 18, 16 points, and then the third top scorer scored 6 points.
Yeah.
So the offense in general just needs to get going and have a good game, get started, and I think they should have a pretty solid run in March Madness.
Yeah, I hope to see it, but just my second round prediction isn't anything ungranted to them. I'm just looking over at the overall seeds, and being an 11 seed's obviously hard to come out of the first 2 rounds. Okay. So that's all we have to talk about women's basketball. Let's go into WSU men's basketball. As in, they're in the middle of the Pac-12 tournament today.
Tonight, as we film, they will be playing UCLA.
We'll see how that game goes, obviously. The only way their only really ticket to March Madness is if they win the Pac-12 tournament, which isn't looking too solid. So I did actually some research into the NIT tournament. If none of you guys know what that is, it's basically the tournament that teams that are good enough to go to March Madness but just didn't have the standings or the overall record to go and play each other. And Wazzu's actually a 4th seed in the NIT tournament, which means they would host a game here in Pullman. So I think their road to success, though, that's obviously looking into the future. Now we need Noah Williams to play well in the Pac-12 tournament if we want to make a run, because he's still, I mean, Coach Smith still, utilizes him as one of our main scorers in terms of plays and all that. The offense needs to be in sync. Michael Flowers, Terrell Roberts, and we need to get the bigs involved in the offense, like F.A., Mohamed Gay, and Jackson. And our defense just needs to stay on the same level as they always been. As long as the bigs can get involved, the defense and the offense will shine, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to March Madness at this point. They have to make it through USC, Colorado, and Arizona, and they just lost horribly to all 3 of those teams. So I don't think that they have much hope going to March Madness, but I think they have pretty good chance in the NIT tournament.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. One thing I do say is the only reason I don't think we would do well, actually, most of those teams like Arizona, Colorado, we actually killed Colorado here in Pullman, so they're not really we're not really a team to be messed around with. We didn't really lose to Arizona by that much. USC we've lost to by 2 both rounds, both games, but UCLA has always been that team we cannot seem to get within 15 points of. They just seem to be our kryptonite, and I see that ending tonight as this will be released on Saturday. So, yeah, make a run in the NIT. I think still this is a very successful season for our men's basketball team. We'll just have to see where things go and hope for the best for the Cougs.
Agreed.
Next topic. As of today, the MLB lockout has been decided. The MLB Players Association and the owners have agreed on a new deal. This automatically probably means that the MLB Players Association got what they wanted. The reason this held out for so long was because of they wanted minor leaguers to get equal pay. And there's so much that went on with this contract. Let's just list them right here. Is that they already agreed on some parts to the game, which is extended playoffs. Both leagues, the National League and the American League, to have a designated hitter. Getting rid of the shift, which I don't like, but we'll talk about more here in a little bit. And increase of base size. So, I mean, the base size will obviously prevent injury and all that stuff.
It reduces the risk of injury, which is beneficial.
It is very beneficial, and that's one of the only things I really agree with on here, but I'll get into my reasoning a little bit. And now traditional baseball is officially back with the elimination of the shift and no more ghost runners and extra innings, which a lot of people were pushing for. So that is great. What was your opinion on the MLB lockout and all these rule changes?
I mean, it went on for long enough. I'm glad that there was just a decision that was made. I think there are definitely some controversial rule changes here. Some are positive and some are negative, depending on who you ask. And so it's just going to be one of those things where we're going to have to see how it plays out in the season. Yeah,
and the thing with the shift is getting rid of the shift, as Trevor Junt would say. You're getting rid of essentially a very analytical part of the game with the shift. I mean, you had teams think about, you have Joey Gallo, for example, the man who really pushed for it to get changed because he always hits to the left side of the field, and it was hard for him to really adjust to that when you have everyone shifted to the left, expecting for a ground out. I will say, though, a lot of players are very happy about the shift, but just letting you know, this will not get rid of your strikeout rate. So that's my opinion, Joey Gallo. You are not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
It will eliminate some, but not all slumps.
Yeah, of course. So that's all I really have to talk about in the MLB lockout. If you are good to go into
me as well.
What I think is the biggest topic is NFL free agency.
Absolutely.
So NFL free agency. So the first thing that had happened was the Packers are signing Rodgers to a 4-year, $200 million deal, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. But Rodgers actually disputed that fact, going on Twitter and saying he did not sign that big of a contract, but he said he is going to return to Green Bay. So that leads a lot of questions going into what contract did he sign and what did him and the Packers actually talk about?
The most recent information that I've heard is that he signed a contract saying that $153 million is guaranteed. And so if that's what he was pointing towards, then I guess that's not quite $200 million, but that's still pretty good. There was no surprise that he re-signed with Green Bay here.
Yeah, there's no surprise, especially with his relationship with the management getting a lot better and just stuff like that. But if this contract turns out to be true, I honestly think this ruins the Packers' entire future because you're paying Aaron Rodgers. You were already so deep into cap space. What are you going to do with Devontae Adams next year when you have negative $60 million in cap space? And that, Trevor, don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's actually true, but just to understand,
exact numbers.
Just to understanding, I don't want another Trevor stat fact on me,
I mean, Aaron Rodgers is a 2-time reigning NFL MVP, and he has 13 consecutive winning seasons under Matt LaFleur. And so he's a great quarterback, and he's done well with the Packers, but he has yet to make it with a second Super Bowl win. And so I'm not sure if this is a beneficial sign for the Packers, but I mean, they have a QB, which is more to be said for the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's what we're actually going into next. The Seattle Seahawks, this breaks my heart to say. The Seattle Seahawks agreed to trade the QB who led their franchise to its first Super Bowl, Russell Wilson.
First Super Bowl win.
First Super Bowl win, yeah, first Super Bowl win. Thank you for, honestly, it was very heartbreaking for all Seattle fans at first, but honestly, looking into it, a lot of people would say different. I believe we won this trade, truthfully.
Absolutely.
Here's my reasoning. I feel as Seattle is getting 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders, a 5th round, and addition with Drew Lock, Noah Fant, who's a solid tight end, and Shelby Harris, who's a solid D end. We're essentially set up for our future. And, I mean, we don't know with Russell Wilson and his injury. He could possibly digress. Like, it's so understandable with that injury. You don't know what's going to happen, essentially, with Russell Wilson. So I think us being set up for our future, essentially, and Russell Wilson, could be on that downfall with the Denver Broncos. You never know.
I mean, as of recently, I feel like Denver is the place where quarterbacks go to die and retire. They really like to trade for developed QBs and then make a potential run for the Super Bowl. As we hear that timer go off, we'll wrap up here really quickly that Seahawks will agree to that the Seahawks won the trade.
Yeah, and one more thing as we are in overtime, that the same day that Russell Wilson was traded, Bobby Wagner was released by the Seahawks. So they are definitely entering a rebuild stage.
Yep.
And, I mean, he still is the best linebacker he has been for the past decade. So
I mean, he was the last standing in Legion of Boom, and Russell Wilson's the quarterback that led them to those Super Bowls. And so, there's nothing left to say, but Seahawks are in rebuilding, as sad as it is for Seahawks fans everywhere.
We have entered a rebuild, and that is all there is to say with that. So with that ends our Coug on the clock.
Yes, follow Wazzu Sports Network on Instagram. We're just Wazzu Sports Network. And we are Wazzu Sports Net on Twitter, which is where we tend to live tweet some games. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Brinkley Hill.
And I'm Gunnar Miller. Have a great spring break, Cougs. Yeah.
Heck yeah.